But looking at sort of prerequisites or issues, perceived issues for this is a lot of companies struggle finding use cases, which I think is quite weird still. I mean, we have all these customers, we have all these requirements, we have all these needs. There are plenty of use cases. Sort of management buy-in on these things, leadership support is crucial. That is one of the reasons I joined Nordnet. Our CEO is talking about AI on conferences. Our chief technology officer is talking about AI. Our board of directors are talking about AI. It's really sort of noted as this is the key to enable what we want to do. If we want to be personal on scale and do it fast, that's why we need AI. General technology capabilities, yes. If we want to, as Errol mentioned, if we want to do this on scale and really fast, we need technology as well. But starting out, I think we can start with probably the technologies that we have, and then at the same time build the capabilities for scaling it. And to be fair, we're sort of happy beginners on this area, but we're investing, we're sort of picking a direction, and we're trying to run the race really, really quickly. So I'll come into some of the technology issues further on. And then we have other things like cultural stuff. We have security, which is, of course, as finance is a highly regulated business, that's a paramount concern. But it's not a new issue. It's like it needs to be part of everything we do with GDPR and security and MiFID compliance, whatnot. Competing investment priorities. We need to figure out how to build business cases. I think that has been an issue for a while. We will sort of sell the product before we have proved the value. I think that's key, to prove the value, because then the investments will of course come. We shouldn't just throw money at AI because it's like cool things. There should be a business case. Hiring talent, yes, that's a concern, as probably most of you know about. And we can see also that this ranges from the beginners have problems on the right-hand side, and sort of the companies that are in the leading position, they have problems on the left-hand side, scaling it up and finding people. So the way we look at this is that we have sort of, if we generalize it, 3 major areas where we look into AI and how we can use that. Products and services is one of them. There is a lot of talk that, I mean, if we charge premium price for a product that is inferior, that doesn't work. If we can automate that and provide the same product and same quality with lower or zero cost, of course that will have a marketplace. Communication and UX, that's addressing the sort of gap from banks, tech companies. I'm not saying that we should be like Netflix or Spotify, but something similar. I think you expect that from a modern platform where we have all data. It should be relevant for you at the time of your choice and at the platform of your choice. I think that's basic expectation nowadays. And also to be able to scale, of course, business processes is one of the areas where we're looking at this. So taking some of the examples of what we do, I will not go into details on this, but feel free to ask questions afterwards or catch up with me later on. I mean, we have RoboSave or robo-advisors. Probably most banks are looking into this. I mean, given that we know your sort of investment horizon, your risk appetite, your type of cash that you put in, we can tailor a fairly good portfolio that takes into account modern diversification strategies and all the sort of financial difficulties that I probably read about in school but forgot about. So that's one thing. In terms of communication, we're doing a first sort of in-house AI together with tech, which is a smart news, a recommender product, where we hopefully can provide inspiration and relevance depending on what kind of exposure you have in your portfolios. Next best action communication, of course, in CRM. What is the... it got dark here, that's why I stopped. Sort of how to communicate, what is the right product at a certain time. Should we advise you to diversify your portfolio? Should we advise you if something happens with one of your stocks, if the CEO gets fired or something like that? We need to catch these events. We need to provide it to your fingertips at the relevant times you can act on it. All these things are sort of small pieces of the puzzle. And in terms of business processes, we have chatbots, we have a lot of automated processes around compliance where we can use machine learning to speed up and automate manual processes. And those things are really important because if we can automate those processes, the people that did that before, they can work on building good products instead. And of course, value of this, I mean, having better products and services, that's a competitive advantage position. Customer experience with great user interface and much smarter products, being more like more sort of the tech side of fintech. Chatbots and similar things for processes, then that means we can scale much faster. So the way we're trying to look at this and how we work is with something we call integrated differentiation, where I think that the more business value or the more differentiating value there is, we need to be much closer to the business processes, as Errol mentioned as well, because that's where the value comes from. So looking at this, we need to move in the direction of the arrow, and we might have reporting. It's not a differentiator, everyone has it. You don't build substantial business value. It's sort of a license to operate thing. AI, we need to do it close to the business processes, inside the business processes, and we need to connect it to the technology side of things, we need to connect it to the business side of things, as well as the algorithm side of things. So the way we do this is that we have, as we're starting out, I mean, we don't have all the fancy deployment routines yet, but we realize that we need it. And to do it, we will have a sort of a deployed analytics team where we'll work with the core team doing a sort of time series forecast and trying to predict things so we can act or choose not to act and be much smarter around that. But then we're working with growth, which is our marketing team, and we actually sit together with them working on their agenda with the technology side. And we're working with product and tech. So we have the business side with the product owners. We have the developers in the same team. We have the analysts in the same team to really build up these capabilities, because there is a difference on deploying standard production code through CI. I mean, companies sort of do that quite well nowadays. But working with analytics and sort of stateful models is more difficult. But still, we want to connect this so that we can have, as we're quite small still, we need to do this consistently across. We can't do silos. I think that would be very bad because it would hurt the customer experience. As I see it, as a Netflix example, I mean, if I get a recommendation from Netflix, it's the same recommendation I get in all channels and all touch points. And that's the way it has to be. I mean, I cannot get different recommendations in the app compared to what I get in an email. So we need common models, we need consistent user experience to make this happen, but we also need to work in close vicinity to where the business value is. Just to throw in some tech on you as well, I'll not go into detail, but what we're trying to do is to really work with the data-first culture. If we want to be good at AI, we need to be good on data, because AI consumes data. That's like the fuel. So we need to make sure that we build this and work with everyone and really point out the value of the data and the quality of the data. And then, of course, we're looking on like the standard component. We need a real-time logging system like Kafka or something in the cloud like Kinesis or Google PubSub. We need to have some kind of data lake, but also we need to have a good sort of managed layer of features so we can be productive for our data scientists as well. And we're looking at this like on-premise, but we're trying to drive the cloud agenda as well, because I think banks in general are lacking in that area. And I think cloud is super important for scalability and speed. On the second layer, we have all the modeling. I mean, you recognize this from before. We're working with Jupyter as our dev environment. We're heavy into Python. And we have like scikit-learn is one thing. We're finding great value from Keras, deep learning. We're using LightFM for recommendations, and there are so many other packages as well. And we are looking very much into cloud here, especially for training deep neural networks. We have some models that we can't train right now. We need GPUs to do it because it takes too much time. They sort of get obsolete before they even have finished the training phase of things. So that's really important. Deployment, Docker, you heard about that in the last talk. We need to be able to do this over time. So I mean, with the pace of open source software, the version control and Dockerizing it to have like isolated independent environment is crucial. It also means that we can start on premise and we can move cloud when we want to do that, because the code is like self-contained. It will run anywhere. We're currently starting out with offline capabilities, but of course we need online scoring as well and online training. And we need to cater for this in the architecture as well. And then we're working with standard APIs to the product layers so that we can, I mean, the idea or the basic requirement is that any one data scientist in our team should be able to build a model, test it, have it peer reviewed, and put into production with the standard API, and then it can be consumed into the application or into the web, the mobile application or the web platform or anywhere else. And on sort of acting layers, we're having, of course, market automation system on the way in, so we can scale this and be relevant across the sort of user lifetime. We have a totally new platform, a new mobile app coming out. We have a new web platform. We have our social trading platform, Shareville, which is like Facebook for investments. And we're also looking into, I mean, starting with becoming really good at A/B testing. But A/B testing is still maybe too much too managed. We're looking also into bandit testing, so we can have an automated selection on what models perform best. Contextual bandits, so we can make it relevant on segment level, or even reinforcement learning on adapting this based on user input and user interaction. So lots of work to do, very exciting, and we'll see sort of how we can do this as quickly as possible. Not all these boxes are ticked now, but that's sort of the fun part, I think. And just sort of shameless to kick off, we're looking for good people all across. And also maybe a bit, I don't know if this is a good thing or a sad thing, we got Bank of the Year last year, best bank in Sweden, and we're just starting out. I think hopefully we should be able to rack up those rewards much more frequently in the future. Because if we got Bank of the Year last year, then there is a lot of work to do. So yeah, thank you, and I'll be more than happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, Daniel Tidström.